All right, so with our handsome Mr. B, maybe what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of some loose leash walking. I know we're technically off gear, which is perfectly fine. And then I want to do a little bit with some weight practice, and then we'll throw in, of course, some of his usual fun stay. This is really pretty. Nice job. So with the handsome guy, he was just working a little bit with some of those novelty moments earlier with the agility ladder and some of the pause up and step up exercises, and then the little teeter board. So he did a real nice job. Yes. So right here, we're getting some really nice loose leash walking. So remember too, guys, like if your babes are struggling with certain tasks, try to break them down into smaller portions or little smaller steps. And then also try to make sure that where you're rehearsing the skill set is within your puppy's comfort range. So a lot of times, I know I've only talked about this a little bit, is that a lot of times the environment is what's going to fuel or drive behavior. So if we're in a very stimulating or very overwhelming environment and we're wondering why is the dog not listening, a lot of times is they probably don't understand the skill in the first place, but now the environment is so exciting or so overwhelming that they don't know how to use that skill in those venues. So let's say, for example, sitting. A lot of times your puppies, good job, think that sitting tends to happen really close to the handler, typically in front of you. So all of a sudden learning that you can do a sit on the side of someone is another learning moment. So also if your babe really knew how to do a sit, they'd be able to offer it in many different textures or different types of environments with different distances or, for example, different distractions, and from different positions. So maybe your back could be facing the puppy, you ask for the sit and they offer it. But if your babe only understands sit in the kitchen with you facing them, that is how they've learned that behavior. So now bringing it to the real world may not seem like it's the same exercise. So yeah, you can do a little down. So let's say we're going to rock a little bit with some weight behaviors for a moment. So Mr. B is going to be rocking either sit or down, whichever he feels most comfortable with. I'm going to tell him to wait, and I'm just going to add some wiggles. So remember, the weight behavior or the weight cue is going to be, for example, holding back, sir or ma'am, until we call them to us. You could also release your babe to, for example, grab some food or grab a dog toy, or go retrieve something, or to go visit someone, or go through a threshold. But typically I recommend with the weight, I like to use my recall slogan if I'm working with the dog coming to me. So I'm going to go Bodie here. Yes, and I'm going to jackpot that beautiful weight. Oh, we dropped that one. Sorry, sir. It's hard with the extra saliva. We get very slimy. Nice. So let's say we're going to try another lovely little weight position. I'm going to set him up. Ready, Bodie? If we think he's going to do best in a down, I recommend to start him there. So again, we're going to tell him to wait. For me, for visuals, I tend to do a wait as in like wait a moment. You can do whatever hand signal makes sense to you and your household. And then I normally do stay as an open palm, sort of stop sign stay. So right now we're waiting, and I would only apply the wait the one time. If my puppy got up and they wiggled, I could reset it up and then restart the whole exercise from square one. He's so tired. Bodie, here. Yes, nice job. That was so pretty. So smart. So we'll try and maybe set him up again somewhere over here. Down. He's like, oh, so tired. You can rock it. Down. He's like, what? So there will be moments too where your puppy's kind of like, huh? If you find that sometimes, again, they give you a little moment, it could be that maybe he is a little fatigued. It could be too that it's like me versus his family. So ready? Down. Nice. So I'm going to reinforce that down. So, but don't worry if sometimes you have to either help them through it. This doesn't mean that if my puppy's not listening, I'm going to get mad at them. Remember to, like, if we just use grumpiness or agitation or corrections, it doesn't teach your dog what not to do. It just kind of scares them throughout the process. So your dog, again, sometimes they're meant to be standing versus sitting. Why would I want to then scold him while he's standing if later I would like a stand position? So if your babe is ever having a hard time and you go into like pulling or yanking or jerking on the gear, it's not going to teach them again, what to do instead, it's just going to be a startling moment and they won't know why. We're sometimes happy with them and then sometimes a little unpredictable. So right here, I'm going to tell them to wait. And again, I'm not saying this is what you guys are rocking, but I know there's a lot of, information out there, and at times it can be very confusing because since the industry is unregulated, anybody can say or claim they're a dog trainer, and they sometimes even swipe the behaviorist title without any of the schooling from the veterinary school. So the problem with that is there's a lot of rubbish out there, and a lot of it tends to harm your dog mentally or physically. So I'm going to go ahead and reset him up. So that's a great example of my puppy breaking from his position. He's like, that was so dumb. So we're going to try again for that little down. Here, I'm just going to help him lower him down just so it's not too distracting or hard for him. I'm going to tell him to wait. So there will be moments where your puppy, when they're trying something, have a hard moment. So Bodie, here. So if my puppy struggled, I'm not going to make it even harder than it once was when we were trying. So if I kept doing weights that were like 5 minutes long and my puppy constantly got up, at what point, oh goodness, chew them. At what point am I actually making weights seem fun and easy and attainable? You got to chew them, sir. Two, if your puppy is having a hard time being stationary, just like from either the stays or the weights or whatever you're rocking, don't forget to throw in some breaks with movement. So for Mr. B right now, I figured he was kind of tired, but if he wants to do a couple little find its, that's perfectly fine. And then that way he can kind of get his little body up and wiggling and doing a few skills. But again, for the teenagers, it could even be that his physique, like he's tired, but his brain is still going because he's a baby. So there could be moments where the body and mind don't always connect as well as we were hoping. You good, sir? My goodness, nobody knows how to chew in these classes, even the other classes, not just doggy day school. Good job. So you could even, let's say those weights are not going the way you were hoping. Let's say every time you said to do a sit or a down weight, he constantly got up. That would be a moment where you could do find it and then work that recall. So you could do a find it to go have him grab that item. And then we go, Bodie, here. He just spit out 2 more snacks and ate them again. Good job. So hungry. So smart. So you could, again, the benefit of working some of these find its and then redirecting back onto you is it allows your puppy to still work those recalls, even if it's not from a stationary position. Bodie, here. He's only got 1 speed right now, and it's meander. And that's okay. Ready? Find it. Bodie, here. He's like, lady, make it end. He said, my brain's melting. Good job. So, but 2, for those weights or recall practice, make sure that we're not doing so many reps that he just wants to give up. I'm just going to grab the dog cot real quick. So because if, let's say, we are always going until the puppy's like, oh my gosh, just make it stop, then we're not really making training fun. It's more than likely turning into like a chore or almost like boot camp where you're like, it seemed like a good idea, but then you're like, no, I'm so over it and let's just go veg somewhere else. So he's like, back to the bed. Sounds amazing. So I'm going to tell him to stay. And if, let's say, he's ready to be a little potato and hanging out in his little bed, I'm going to add a little bit of distractions with me moving and just see if he can handle just staying on his little dog cot. And then I'll add in some food for him for holding his position. What a smart boy. Yes. So again, I like to normally feed, if they're in the down especially, I like to feed between their front feet, kind of on the mat itself. So we're building up value and staying low and that the food is kind of almost coming from the target dog bed or cot or place. Nice. Yes. He's doing a real nice job. All the beauties have been doing a great job. Smart babies. Oh my goodness. Chewing is very, very hard. Maybe I should have a whole class on just how to chew. Though nobody would ever pay attention. They'd be like, just swallow them whole. It's no big deal. Yes. So in the beginning, when you're working with the stays, you'll see that I'm going back and doing lots of reps for not moving. This is how we start to build up value in being stationary. If, let's say, I only did 1 rep and then I always ended it on the time I came back to him, the problem with that is the duration would be really hard to create longer moments without reinforcing the good. But then also what can happen is then when they think that you come near, it means the game is over. So I like to do between 2 and multiple reps for holding our place behavior, because that way, no matter what I'm doing, or if I go to visit and reinforce, it doesn't mean the game is over until we release him. So, and that's where it can be really helpful for safety reasons, or for building sort of, impulse control, or building up that you can hold your position while maybe other things are happening with distractions off in the back burner. He's doing a really nice job. Brilliant boy. So, but let's say he is doing stellar and I want to see if I can get him to take a break from it. I would go back and I'm going to feed him for his last rep being stuck in the stay. And then when he's all done with the stay, that's when I would tell him his release word, there'd be no food, and we get up and we leave the spot. So we're going to feed him again for being in the stay. Nice. And I might say, all done. And then he's like, I don't think I'm done. So, but if your puppy gets stuck, Mr. B might be just pooped out. But if your puppy gets a little stuck, I sometimes wiggle my fingers. Let's go. He's like, oh my gosh, he's like, I'm going to be staying here for the rest of the day. So, but if your puppy does get stuck like this and you're trying to make it where it's not as fun technically to leave the spot, this can happen where your puppy's like, no, I'll just chill here and wait for the next good thing to happen. It doesn't mean anything's going wrong. It actually means that he's getting very comfortable with the place behavior. He could also just be very tired. He was doing some really nice playing with all the beauties. This little group of 4 have been really, really stellar together. It doesn't mean that other groups haven't been great. It just means like for the chemistry of the group, it's really, really cute to watch them all engage because they all are about the same size and age roughly. You ready? So if let's say he's a little stuck, I might do technically a little find it if he was really having a rough time. But typically, I prefer to only feed while he's in the stay. But that's where, again, if he's stuck, I do want him to get up and break when I've asked him versus when he's still just trapped in his position. Nice. Good job for the sitting. Oh my goodness, it rolled under. Can you reach it? That's so sad. So, but maybe what we'll do is we'll give our handsome Mr. B a breather, sneak him out for a little potty, break. A snack just fell out again. And then give him a little break and then we'll rotate through the beauties. But he did a really nice job. So here's a couple little tidbits for being such a smart man. We'll give Mr. B a little break. But such a good job he did again. Oh, back to his dog bed. Good job, mister. Look, he's going to go get all situated. Such a smart boy.